pardon me as I get comfortable here. I hope the very kind individual that requested this of me doesn't mind if I wear a tank top during this. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for what I assume is a college level course. I'm not entirely sure. If you're totally unaware as to what's happening, a fan, at least I assume it's a fan, reached out to me over Steam and asked if I could answer some questions for an interview project that he has or she has for a broadcasting course. Again, I assume it's a college level course, and I do apologize if a tank top is somewhat sloppy of me, but I mean, I kind of saw this as an opportunity to help practice my ad-libbing because I normally adhere to a very strict script whenever I kind of give a response to something. And whenever I do that, I sound like an autistic robot, as I've said before. So, want to practice not doing that. And I saw this as like a really good opportunity to do so. So the plan is, they gave me a list of questions, and I'm going to give a scripted short answer for each of them that I'll then kind of chop out and then put together into a shorter video just for them, for their project specifically. And then all of the unscripted, this is all going to be unedited, by the way. It's going to be like, it might be an hour long by the time I'm done. I'm not entirely sure. It just depends on how long I feel like rambling for on each of these questions. And the entire thing is just going to be uploaded to my second channel, which is actually nice having. I like having a second channel now because I can just upload whatever it is I feel like talking about, and it doesn't really matter. And if people want to watch it, then that's great, and it won't impact my primary channel at all, so that's nice. So these questions were just they were mostly pertinent to what I do on YouTube and a little bit to what I do as a geophysicist. So let's just get going, I guess. I've got my tea here. Let's get the ball rolling. First question in all caps. Who are you? And as for the script goes, hello, my name is Josh, and I'm a geophysicist from Texas. Reset that. Hello. Oh my god. See, look, now you get to watch me fail as I attempt to read off a script. I gotta speak slower, speak slower. Hello, my name is Josh. I'm a geophysicist from Texas, but I also make YouTube videos in my spare time about video games, and I go by the moniker Zesty Jesus online. I have about 75,000 YouTube subscribers at this point, and I primarily make videos about a video game called Team Fortress 2. It's a fairly dated first-person shooter with a very dedicated player base and a lot of mechanical depth. That's why I make videos about it. It's very fun. YouTube's always just been a hobby of mine, but one day the ambiguous YouTube algorithm decided to bless me. People started catching on, and here I am now. It's the end of the scripted part. I do, and to kind of elaborate on this question further, I need a creative outlet for myself, from just a creative outlet from my otherwise very analytical job. I primarily analyze geophysical data sets during my research, so I don't really get to exercise the half of my brain that works with pretty colors and fun sounds and like shiny stuff and pictures and and fun stuff. So I make YouTube videos to kind of, give myself that outlet that I do need. I only have a following on YouTube at this point because I got lucky and the YouTube algorithm just latched on to one of my videos that I put out a couple years ago, and it decided to put it into people's faces, and for some reason it's just kept doing that. Why this has happened specifically, I mean, I can only guess. I've heard down the grapevine that the more effort you put into a video, it does somewhat translate into how hard YouTube promotes the content you've made. I'm not entirely sure, like, to what extent this goes. Like, the first heavily, quote-unquote, edited video essay that I made was the first one that blew up on YouTube. And YouTube does recognize better video quality, better audio quality, well-made thumbnails and whatnot in terms of its promotion and its algorithm. So, putting forth that extra effort was fun for me, but as a result, it's also kind of thrust my content out there. Content term used loosely. It's just put it out there, and people like it, and I keep making it because it's fun, so here we are now. Yeah, that sums up the first question. Pretty solidly, I'd say. Second question. You've said this before during the TF2 weapon tier lists that you are glad streaming live every day isn't your livelihood. Do you think if you had a job you weren't as passionate about, you would do YouTube full time? Or do you feel the same towards streaming and making YouTube content? So for the scripted part, forgot to mention that I live stream sometimes, but No. Short answer is no. I would never make YouTube videos or stream myself doing some form of entertainment, even if I hated my job. I would never do those things for a living. It's too volatile of an industry right now, especially when you're, at the mercy of these platforms essentially hiring you on as subcontractors to earn royalties from ad revenue rather than like a set salary or, an hourly pay or whatnot, or what have you. It doesn't matter. This is my main thing. It doesn't matter if you do a good job on a video, if you're entertaining on a stream, if it doesn't do well in terms of viewer counts, or if you can't find someone to sponsor your videos, your YouTube channel, your live streams, what have you, you don't eat that month if you don't get that. I'm not comfortable with putting all of my eggs in one basket like that. Having multiple revenue streams is always the safest bet. So that's what I do. YouTube and Twitch is just this nice little bit of supplemental income, and I just leave it at that. It will never be a full-time job for me. End of the scripted part. So the bulk of this video is just going to be contained in these next few questions, because I looked ahead at these and kind of wrote down a whole bunch of notes of stuff that I wanted to cover. Some of this next part is scripted, but I'm going to keep going on it. Continuing on whether or not I would want to do this sort of stuff for a living, I am, don't get me wrong, incredibly thankful to God that I enjoy my career. And not a lot of people can say that. A lot of people are stuck in this daily slog of a mediocre job, and they just absolutely fucking despise it. Watching that clock until they get to go home, and I would never be able to do that. I don't have the mental capacity for it. I would, if it came down, came down to brass tacks, I would eventually kind of grind myself into a position like that. But thank God I've never had to do that at any point in my life. And I have the utmost respect for people that do that. Most people do that on a daily basis, and then, hold out for their hobbies when they get home. So major props to anyone who has to do that. But, and they do it because they need the money. They need it to, they need it to live and survive, right? And what I do as an earth scientist, I very much look forward to, well, most days anyway. I look forward to it most days, and I really enjoy what I do. That being said, the money that comes from YouTube and Twitch is very nice. It takes quite a bit of the pressure off of my usual list of bills, though most of the money that I get from YouTube and Twitch and Patreon is automatically reinvested into my videos and other related things. My internet bill, my electric bill, my Adobe subscription, paying for source filmmaker and art commissions for my videos. I pay for my TF2 server. I pay for my Discord server. Yes, I do boost my own server because the people in there do enjoy it. And other things that are related to my videos. You get the idea. I do pocket very little of what I earn off of my YouTube and Twitch platforms. I don't make that much money. I make about $400 a month on a good month on YouTube, and maybe $200 a month on Twitch on a good month. And then on Patreon right now, I make about $350. So I earn about $1,000 a month from all three of those sources, from all three of those platforms on like a good month, right? On a bad month, it can be half that. It just depends on if I make a video or if I streamed more often, what have you. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing about doing YouTube and Twitch and whatnot for money, is that it's not a stable form of income. They're reliant on only one thing that's in your control, and it's how often you do it. Not so much on quality, and I'll get to that in a minute. It's how often you do it, and it's also reliant on too many things that are way outside of your own control. And as someone, myself, who feels like I have a pretty good grasp and control on everything I do in my life in terms of how I live and, my income stream and taking care of myself, that is not fun for me. I don't mind taking risks in what I do for a living, but when I base my entire livelihood on it, I need a bit more confidence in that. It's certainly something I would never do with Twitch and YouTube. So the first thing that I want to mention is that your income on YouTube specifically is controlled by an ambiguous promotional algorithm that you have zero control over. And your success is not strictly controlled by your ability to entertain. If you don't appease the YouTube algorithm, your videos don't get seen. And that's it. That's the first hurdle, right? That's like step number one. If you can get the algorithm to recognize something you've made, that is just sheer fucking luck. And that's what happened to me. So and I know so many people that have been making videos for years, right? And they have never broken like the 1,000 subscriber mark. Hell, it took me 7 years to get above 1,000 subscribers, right? I've been making videos since 2012, and I didn't get anything that resembled a sizable following until like 2018. So it took some time. I'm gonna say a lot in this because I hate that's the thing. That's the thing. I gotta practice the ad-libbing so I don't say a lot. This is gonna be like a weird podcast thing. Why am I doing this? I don't know. I have tea here to soothe the throat. We'll see how it holds up. Oh, it's good shit. Ginger lemon, herbal tea. I don't do caffeine anymore. Makes me shaky. So, like, then there's other things you have to worry about. I'm going off my notes here. You have other things you have to worry about, after you've been thrust into the algorithm's good graces. Like I said before, effort doesn't directly translate into views and subscribers. You can make bottom-of-the-barrel, drivel, trash, garbage content, and that will still manage to rake in hundreds of thousands of hits because you've made something that the YouTube algorithm wants to promote to viewers, and you can't always tell when you've made something it will like. For instance, something I do is that you can dump hundreds of hours into a incredibly well-polished video, by my standard or someone else's standards, whatever. You can put hundreds of hours into content, but the algorithm may not push it as hard, or if it doesn't go that well received, or what have you, it doesn't get a lot of views, you just don't eat that month. You don't get any money, right? So relying on a living through that is, in my opinion, just not smart. I will admit this because I personally struggle with this grievance quite often. It is immensely frustrating to pour those hundreds of hours into a video to then have it drowned out by other content that likely, and most definitely, took a mere fraction of the time and effort to create. And that is the biggest problem with YouTube. Effort and quality entertainment are not weighted equally against other content. I'm not saying that my content is of quality or entertaining by any means. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass in that regard. I think my content is garbage compared to like all the other amazing things that are on YouTube right now. But the problem with YouTube is that it does not hold those amazing things at the same level as everything else, right? Higher quality videos, like you see like 45 minutes to an hour long video essays that are just gorgeously written, just eloquently edited, just beautiful masterpieces of viewing content. Those things are held on the same pedestal as like a 15-second clip from TikTok of some teenager twerking it to whatever the Zoomers listen to these days, right? Those two things are held on the same pedestal, and that's a problem. Your efforts and your work are not fairly assessed by this automated system, right? And basing your livelihood in that, to me, is not smart, period. And listen, on top of this, and I am going to go there, I am going to touch on this for a moment because I feel like I can. How do I pose this? If you say certain words or trigger words, not just slurs or what have you, just certain phrases and things you just cannot say on YouTube, or discuss certain topics that are against the prevailing, we'll say tech narrative, or you do something that is deemed not advertiser friendly, which YouTube, mind you, doesn't explicitly tell you, by the way. You don't know everything that they may deem you don't know everything that they may deem unadvertiser friendly, which is incredibly frustrating. If you don't abide by those things, your videos get demonetized, or your channel gets shadow banned, or you're just outright removed from the platform, right? For example, you want to talk about guns, not gun laws, right? But just like firearms from a purely mechanical perspective, or just like a marksman's perspective, like looking at a guy who's like an ace shooter with a 6-shooter, going to town on cans and bottles and whatnot, hunting, even things like fishing, like fishing, not even, no guns, you're like just casting your rod out there, getting the fucking trout on the line. The algorithm is going to hide you because it deems those things as unsuitable for advertisers. These largely innocuous things are swept under the rug, On top of that, you want to hold stances about worldly happenings, or perhaps internet drama, or you want to hold stances about reset that. Let's say you want to hold some stances about internet drama or world happenings or politics, right? And if you aren't in alignment with whatever that tech narrative is pushing on their platform, you're just buried and gone, right? And when that happens, what are you going to do? right? This doesn't happen with gaming channels, right? It's not a concern for me because these are things I don't discuss. But with other, and again, this is just speaking generally here. I'm not talking about my scenario specifically. I'm just talking about from like a broader viewpoint why I just don't like YouTube, and I feel like trusting it as a source of income is not a smart move, right? It's a platform that's not friendly for anyone, for everyone, not like it used to be, right? It's gotten worse, especially over these past few years, at least from my point of view. You know, this censorship wheel has rolled so far, there's really no telling where that line is going to stop, right? Where's it going to be where's it going to be next year? Where's it going to be 5, 10, 20 years from now? You know, YouTube's always been this dynamic platform that's been constantly changing to appease its advertisers, especially since it was acquired by Google. But as things get more tribal and extreme on social media, I truly do fear the worst. It's just going to get amplified up to 10. Within the next decade, it's going to be, good God. It's honestly, we just have completely unexplored territory moving forward with content online and how these quote-unquote private companies handle what's being said through their services. It's a little bit scary, and not being sure if you're going to be just, you know, Thanos off the platform. Oh, you made a Zoomer joke. Say Thanos. You get fucking removed off the platform. You just don't know when or why that's going to happen. It can just happen to you suddenly, right? And then what happens if that does happen, right? Where are you going to go from there? So if you can't make money through YouTube, you can't make money from streaming on YouTube, what do? You're not making enough, you go to third-party sponsors, right? You find a sponsor for your channel so you can make money that way. And for some people, they find products that they themselves enjoy using, that they don't mind advertising on their channel, which is great, right? And that's what I would prefer to do. The only time that I ever got a sponsor on a video of mine was a guy selling blue light glasses, which is what I'm wearing right now. A product that I myself use and that I highly recommend for anyone else to use, for anyone that has more than 3 or 4 hours of screen time a day. It will greatly improve, you know, your blurry vision. It got rid of my headaches and my eye strain. They do work wonders, trust me, and that's why I advertise these things. But if you can't, but here's the thing, if you want to purely make money off of YouTube and make a living off of it, you're never going to only find sponsors that you yourself truly enjoy and love, right? You're going to have to go out of your way and effectively sell your soul to things that you yourself don't like or don't use in order to, you know, earn money off of an advertisement. I'm looking at you, Raid Shadow Legends, Raid Shadow Shart, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know, people sell their souls to that beast every now and again, but they offer a lot of money, and money does talk. They've approached me. I told them to fuck off. You know, and here's the thing, right? So if you don't want to just, you have two options when it comes to this sort of thing, right? Do you want to earn money, or do you just want to make what you want to make, right? If it's the latter, then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about adhering to the rules and guidelines. So long as the content's not going to get removed off the platform, you're fine. You're not worrying about a revenue stream. If you want to make money, then you got to do all the hurdles and jumps and loops to ensure that that revenue stream is stable. And that's why I said earlier that multiple revenue streams is a smart thing, right? So you might be thinking, okay, supplement it with Twitch. But holy mother of God, Twitch is just so much worse. Twitch is horrible. It is good God. It is just a shadow of its former self. There's a YouTuber by the name of Short Fat Otaku. Short Fat Otaku. God, I can't say that right. Dev for short. He goes by that as well. He made a video talking about just the decline that Twitch has gone through over the past 6-7 years. Dear God, it went from this platform that people could use to just stream video games. It was for gamers, but it was for gamers to go on, stream their experiences, interact with their fans, and do what have you. And man, it was great. It was fun. Anyone could jump on and do it. But now it's just a shit show. It's horrible. You have just, oh God, where do you even start? You have, so first of all, you have the whacked out moderation on this website, where you have just this uneven application of rules and preferential treatment to certain streamers, right? When they started, when the Twitch mods started simping, I'll say the simp word, they started simping for women on that platform, right? That's when things started going downhill. They started giving them preferential treatment, you know, you started getting more chicks doing the whole titty streamer thing. Then you started having the special subcategories because the gamers complained like, hey, these guys are pulling away our views, even though they're not actually playing video games. They're just kind of, sitting there presenting their chests. And then they got moved over to a different category. That's when we got, IRL, people just talking. And then that devolved into other things. Some things that are fine, like cooking or podcasts. Some things that are totally fine to have on a platform like Twitch. But then you started having, the weird, creepy ASMR streams where chicks are tongue punching an ear-shaped microphone. And that's just kind of gross. And, oh God, people are just going there to beat off now. Sex sells, and man, does Twitch make a lot of money through sex, even though it's not actually pornographic. It's borderline pornographic, and in some cases, it is pornographic, right? I'm kind of going on a tangent here. But for example, here's one reason why I don't like Twitch. Going back to the uneven application of rules and policies. There was a streamer, I don't remember their name, and even if I did, I won't say who it is. This streamer, live on Twitch, went live, and in front of her audience of hundreds, or it was hundreds, maybe thousands, I'm not sure, hundreds, went on stream, bent over, and spread those lips wide. You could see everything. It was Cave Explorer. You were going down. You're looking for gems, man. Just the whole thing, just plain view for everyone to see. She got a 3-day ban off of Twitch because her excuse was, oh, I thought I was streaming to my OnlyFans or whatever those other porn websites are, right? 3-day ban. Whereas there was a gentleman, I won't say who was playing a game on Twitch, and this video game had an instance of nudity. Not like sexual nudity, but there was a woman with her shirt off, and it was cartoon boobs, briefly shown on a live stream. He got a 1-month ban. Ah, God. And if that isn't preferential treatment, Lord Almighty, I don't know what is. And that's just one of many instances and many other dark things that Twitch does. Again, I highly recommend you go check out this video. I'll post a link of it in the description. That is from Short Fat Otaku that just shows the egregious preferential treatment that Twitch gives to certain streamers for various reasons, mostly pertaining to sex and political ideology. Oh God, it's a hot fucking mess. So Twitch is just another place that you can't really rely on revenue from. You're really just doing it for fun, and I just do it for fun because I like interacting with people that come and watch me, because I like having conversations, I like talking with people. It's fun, right? That's more or less it. And then people then can go to Patreon, but then you have places like Patreon and even places like PayPal removing people off of their platforms because they don't share the same political beliefs that the website holders do. And then that source of revenue can also just be immediately removed for fairly innocuous reasons. And again, uneven application of rules on those platforms are just very, very frustrating to deal with. And again, thank God I don't have to worry about those things because I never expressed those viewpoints anywhere. And if I did, I guaranteed I would be in hot water, despite a lot of my viewpoints being also fairly innocuous and I would consider fairly in the moderate position of most things. But I'll probably touch on that more later. But yeah, don't do the internet gig for money. Don't do it for straight money. Do it for fun. And if you get supplemental income from it, even if it's more than what you make from your actual job, don't quit your day job because you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when the platforms are going to change a rule. You don't know when there's going to be another adpocalypse. You just don't know what's going to happen, right? It could happen tomorrow. It could be a month from now, a year from now. It's not a long-term stable revenue stream. And I even recently talked someone out of going to YouTube full time. It's just not smart. It's you have to go through so many things, sell your soul to sponsors. You're going to lose respect for it if you do that. Like the whole, like people advertising those TF2 gambling sites, which are just, straight up scam sites that just take your items from you effectively. I've had many of them approach me and say, hey, you want to sponsor a website? We'll give you a juicy deal. It's like, nope, you guys steal items from kids. It's really fucked up. So yeah, don't advertise gambling sites unless you want to look like a piece of shit. Period. There's no redeeming qualities of doing that in any way, shape, or form. You're a fucking asshole if you do. Yes, I will virtue signal on that. I think most people are in agreement with that. It's like you have to just really not give a fuck about anything if you advertise gambling scam sites like that. You just really just need to not fucking care. And I know some people do. Not gonna say who. Some people do. All right, I think it's enough on the whole YouTube and Twitch as a source of revenue thing. Let's move on. Third question. We're only on question 3. Third question. Do you get help from other content creators or artists for your videos, i.e. editing, source filmmaker, artwork, etc.? And do you find times where it's difficult to work with other people? So here's the scripted response first. I do, yes. I do edit all... reset that. Fuck, that's like too fast. Gotta speak slow. Gotta remind myself to speak slow when I go through these, otherwise it's a hot mess. Scripted response. I do get help from other creators, yes. I personally do all of my own video editing, special effects, animations, and script writing, but I do hire people to work on things that I myself can't do. Mostly work in Source Filmmaker, which is a 3D animation program that's clunkier than a two-legged horse, and also hand-drawn artwork, because I can't draw worth a, you know. When it comes to working with other people, I only work with people I like. That's a luxury of doing things at your own pace on YouTube and Twitch. That is one good thing about it, is you can pick who you want to work with. You know, you're not pinned down by trying to make money, so you don't have to force yourself to work with people that you don't want to work with, right? You know, just for a paycheck. I've personally never had any problems with anyone that I've worked with because they just gravitated towards me or I towards them, and things just worked out quite nicely. So, yeah. All right, moving on to other points that I have here. I do very much like being a one-man show. I feel like being a one-man show keeps things in your realm of flavor without getting too generic. I like, you know, putting my own spice on things. I very much like having control over the entire process from start to finish. I don't like the idea of someone else editing what I say. I tried this for my my tier list videos, and I just told my friend to cut out the dead air, and he did, and I still didn't like how he did it because I didn't like the timing of certain things I said. Some of the cuts were overlapping a little bit. For the most part, he did a great fucking job. No one noticed, but only I noticed these things, right? And when I noticed it, it bothers me. No one else noticed it, but I did. So because it bugs me, I'm never gonna outsource an editor ever again. And those are the only videos that I ever got someone else to do the editing for me, because going through massive VODs like that is a chore, and I don't have the time to like snip out big chunks of stuff from a VOD. Pardon me. Oh, excuse me. God. So this is gross. And again, this is uncut. This is gonna be one solid long video. I do apologize. There's not even gonna be any background music on it. This is all for your listening pleasure, I assume, or viewing. I don't know why you'd be wanting to watch this. I haven't shaved. Oh, I look horrible. I got a bit of a shine to my skin. Got kind of a red nose. Oh, lordy. Not looking so good today. Come on, Josh. You gotta take care of yourself, man. Good lord. Anyway, moving on. I like having control over the entire process, and I feel like if you start letting too many people in on what you're working on, then it loses the personality of a video, right? Thankfully, there doesn't seem to be too many examples of that in like the TF2 content sphere. The people who have a voice and personality of their own do very much stand out and stand forth. But there was a recent instance of someone doing this. I'll just say it, who gives a fuck, right? Soundsmith made that video about the big earner for Spy. The knife that, you know, you get a backstab, you run faster, you get cloak back on backstab, right? And the video in of itself was incredibly well made. You know, it was well polished, the script was well written, you know, the sound quality and all of it was very good. It was at a surface level, it was like, you know, it was you take a bite out of a cheeseburger, like, damn, that's a good cheeseburger. But at the end of the day, it was kind of just like it felt like a normal cheeseburger, right? Because if you go back and look at Soundsmith's older videos, right, where it was mostly just him doing the work, more of his own personality and even his own editing style was leaking out into it, right? You could tell it was genuinely him. But then if you go and look at that big earner video, a fuckload of people worked on it, right? Just tons of people, like 20, something like that. More than 10, less than 30, somewhere around there. A lot of people worked on this thing. It may even be more. I'd have to go back and look at it again. And there were different people did editing, different people did gameplay capture. Like, I don't even let people get gameplay for me. I also tried that at one point when there was a video about the scorch shot. I didn't have enough footage, and I was in a place where I couldn't play the game, and I was still editing, but I needed some extra footage. So I grabbed a few clips from some friends, and I hated it, right? Because I couldn't, the recording quality wasn't the same, the audio quality wasn't the same, the game settings weren't the same, so it was a very discontinuous thing, and I hated it, right? And it seems like Soundsmith avoided that in his video. But like letting other people kind of come in and chime in and kind of, say like haha funny clips of someone doing this, like, or saying this, what have you. It felt very boring. It didn't have any of his flavor, his usual spice, right? And it's unfortunate, right? I mean, it still performed well, but as someone, I used to watch a lot of his older videos. As someone who kind of enjoyed his older content more for what he was saying and how he was saying it and kind of, his style of more simple edits and whatnot, that was enjoyable for me. That one felt like a very forced video essay, and you can tell there was a greater vision involved with all of it, but at the end of the day, it just kind of felt stale. It was unfortunate, at least for me. A lot of other people enjoyed it. It's just my own personal take, and I'm sure other people enjoyed it for various reasons. And again, it was a decent video, but it was definitely lacking. And I attribute that to other people kind of getting their hands in on it. And I mean, and that's what happens as a result, right? Bigger production pieces like movies and TV shows and what have you, they have tons of people working on them. And at the end of it, they crank out a good piece of media for people to consume. But if they deviate too far away from what makes it a uniquely individual thing that people can gravitate towards and enjoy, then what's the point, right? And I feel like that's what happened with that video, is it got too far away from what made Soundsmith's videos Soundsmith and more towards like, hi, this is just another random TF2 video. So that's why I like doing all my own stuff, because it's just me. It's my own editing, it's my own gameplay, my own experiences with the game. And that's something else too. I only like showing my own experiences with the game, right? Because I've played for thousands of hours, and I want to share my opinions about these things, right? I feel like I have a somewhat decent position to speak about TF2 because I have like 7,000 hours in the game. And like it or not, I'll share what I think about it, have my opinion on it, but that's my thing, that's my flavor, right? If I start bringing in other people and like, doing like a collaboration, oh, we're gonna talk with this guy about this, or debate about this thing with this, right? It loses like what I think is fun, or what I think is interesting, or what I want to share as my experience, right? And I want to avoid those things. That being said, something about collaborative efforts, I only work with people I like. I mentioned that in the scripted response. I've never really done a quote-unquote collaboration. I've only just hung out with people that are like my friends, right? I have my friend Aaron R, the Blue Cat Boy, who does YouTube videos. We hang out a lot. He's a good friend of mine. And I pop up on his streams, and he's popped up in a few videos of mine. I guess you can consider that a collaborative effort, but it's really just us shooting the shit and having fun. I went on, there's a YouTuber by the name of Richter Overtime. He's a friend of mine, he reached out, we chit chat, he's a cool guy. We operate on some similar wavelengths, and he asked me to go on his podcast, which was a lot of fun. It's called, oh shit, what was it called again? I'm sorry, Richter, I forgot the name of your show. Shit. Fuck. Oh, I feel so bad. What was the name of your show? Oh man, I forgot. I'll put a link to it in the description. Look in the description, because I feel so bad for forgetting the name of your show. Shit, I'm so sorry. But he's a friend, right? He was a friend that invited me on, and it was fun. We chit-chatted, and it was a good time. I like doing things like that, where it's more natural and not forced, right? That's when things become fun. And if it's fun, and if the other person's having fun and you're having fun, then that's reflected in the ultimate outcome of the video, and people enjoy it, and you enjoy making it. So I'm not saying avoid collaborative efforts in their entirety. They do produce good stuff. We see a lot of collaborative efforts between some of the larger channels that make TF2 videos, and they make good stuff, right? But I mean, ultimately it does boil down to like what your flavor is, what your preference for content is. If you enjoy the more generic stuff, you enjoy the more generic stuff. If you don't enjoy the more generic stuff, then, what have you. But yeah, it just kind of boils down to what you like, and, I like doing all my own stuff, so I kind of stick with it. There was one person who reached out to me that this is a long time ago. There was one person that reached out to me to do a YouTube video, a collaborative video. I think it was about skins. I'm not sure what exactly. I think it was skins. and they basically wanted me to do all the work, and they just wanted to bless me with their presence in one of my videos, and I was like, don't think I want to do that, bud. I'm just gonna kind of keep doing my own thing. That was my first experience with like just like a cold call collaborative effort. That's something I do want to say. And this does sound like me becoming all fucking high and mighty, like, oh, you think she's hot shit. You think she's the big boy doing the big boy stuff. Oh, he's too good for people. Like, I don't mind hanging out. I don't mind talking and whatnot, but something to not do is like reach out and say, hey, make a video with me, and so you can like boost my views and my subscribers. It's like, no, I would feel like you'd want to like talk and hang out because we like connect on some point or another. Like, you want to like hang out and talk because we share similar opinions, or or we don't share similar opinions but we want to talk about it, or you want to hang out because you like me for one reason or another, you want to be friends, what have you. That's fine. But like a cold call just to like boost your own following, it's just kind of shitty. It's just shitty. It ain't cool. And again, this is me sounding like a pretentious fuck, but I mean, call me a pretentious fuck. It is what it is. What else do I have on here? Okay, so question number 4. There's more here. Question number 4. Do I get tired? Sorry, so the question is, do you ever get burnt out from making YouTube videos? So scripted response first. Do I get tired of making videos? No. The process of planning and writing and editing, that's the fun part and the creative part. That's why I make videos in the first place. I feel like I have this infinitely deep well of ideas that I can translate into a video format, and figuring out how to get an idea out into a tangible, viewable piece of content, that's exciting for me, right? I have an idea and I'm making it and getting it out there exactly how I want it to look, exactly how I want it to sound. That is the most fun thing for me, and that's why I do YouTube. But do I get tired of YouTube? YouTube in general? Yeah. Any time spent on social media as someone with a relatively sizable following, I say sizable, term used very loosely. I don't. It's like 75,000 people in the grand scheme of like YouTube is incredibly small. If you have a relatively sizable following, it just exposes you to the worst kinds of people, no matter what you do. You can make videos about puppies and kittens, and some vitriolic sourpuss will squawk at you for existing. It's just it's the nature of the beast. You do eventually learn to ignore it, but at the same time, it can really just drain you mentally. But overall, no, I'm probably never gonna get tired of making videos. It's too much fun. Okay, so now moving over into the unscripted stuff, I have some fewer bullet points here, more or less touching kind of on like the whole. It's just largely dealing with negativity and kind of like, the whole like mean comments thing, right? It does bother you at first. Some people get over it more quickly than others, right? You get mean comments, it's inevitable, and like I said, you can make content about anything and people will find a way to say something sour about it, right? You can make videos about puppies and kittens, you can make videos about crochet, and someone's gonna come on your channel, they're gonna say, you motherfucker, your sewing technique is wrong, your cross-stitching is shit. You have the technique of my neighbor Dory. She is 79 years old and her fucking arthritic hands can't put the stitches together. Someone will come on your fucking channel and rip you a new one, no matter what you do, right? It's unavoidable. And it takes time to get used to it, right? There's only one way to get used to it, and it's just don't fucking look at it. That's it. Don't look at your comments. Beyond a certain point, you just cannot read YouTube comments anymore because one, there's just too many. I do skim through comments here, and like when a video first goes live, like after like a day, I will look at some comments and then I leave it at that. I typically don't go back and look at comments anymore because it's just too much. And when you do that, you avoid a good chunk of the negative comments that inevitably come towards your video for a myriad of reasons. Someone doesn't like you, someone doesn't like what you said, etc., etc. And, a lot of the negativity does kind of come just through social media, not through the actual process of making videos and like saying what you want to say. You can totally make whatever the hell it is you want. You throw it on YouTube and you just don't look at it, right? You just don't fucking look at it. But that's partially not why I do this. I do enjoy interacting with people. I like talking with people about Team Fortress 2. I'm very passionate about the game, and I like talking with other people about the game. I like sharing my viewpoints about Team Fortress 2. It's just really fun for me. It's one of the reasons why I do YouTube videos, aside from it being a very creative, fun thing for me. But as a result, you end up getting people that just want to rip you a new one because you don't share a similar viewpoint on a video game, and they kind of, it's very odd to see someone devolve into personal attacks over your person because you don't share a similar viewpoint about a video game, or you hold a disagreement, and then they like start like turning you into this monster of a human being. I don't know how. It's so odd to like, I can't pick apart that thought process, honestly, where someone who has never spoken to you, who's never interacted with you in any capacity, right, has never exchanged a word with you, even on social media, right, they just formulate this beastly image of your person, right, and then they kind of like straw man that up into this big fucking thing as like an enemy to fight. It's very weird. I'll touch more on that kind of going on into the next question, because we're kind of getting off the topic of like, am I getting tired of making videos? Next question, question 5. Do I ever get burnt out with TF2? Yeah, I do, all the time, which is why I take breaks. That's honestly the cure for burnout in relation to anything. If you're tired of it, take a break, come back to it later when you're fresh. It can be with homework. You can, I mean, make sure you meet your deadlines, of course. But, you know, if you're banging your head against the wall for a homework assignment, take a break, do something else for a few minutes, refresh your brain, come back, look at it again. Via that practice, I've managed to make Team Fortress 2 fun for me for over a decade. I still have fun with it today. You know, just take breaks and come back to it when you're fresh. Okay. Moving back from that and going back to kind of like the more unscripted stuff, right? There are other things that cause burnout with TF2 aside from just playing the game itself. And this is going back into like dealing with negative people and what have you, and just kind of all the stuff you're exposed to and whatnot, right? My policy in terms of how I act and what I say is I don't sugarcoat shit. I am always like, it's so silly and cheesy to even say. It's like, I'm always me online, and I am. I'm always myself. I don't put on an act, despite, you know, many people assuming that I do put on an act, right? They see me get mad at a video game. It's like, oh, that can't be real. Yeah, it's real. I'm getting pissed off. Apparently, it's a crime to get mad at a video game these days, or get mad at someone in a video game. They want to, like, crucify me because I get mad at someone in a video game. Oh, God forbid. It's like, God damn, people. But, I'm always only me. And if you do that, be warned, if you are not this soft, squishy, easily consumed person, you're gonna get people on your ass, right? And I can be crass, you know, I can be a dick sometimes. I do admit that. And you're gonna get people jumping down your throat because of it. It's just a fact of life. That's in real life, and that's online as well. But you experience it online more so, and that's to a much more extreme degree, because you have the facade of a computer screen between yourself and the person, you know, spewing the vitriolic hate at you, right? The glories of anonymity, right? Which is totally fine. It's actually a very good thing to have, internet anonymity. But as soon as you put your face out there, then, you know, you lose that, and people will have a field day with it. But I don't know, man. It's what is this? It's like, where am I going with this? What I want to say? Where are my notes here? Yeah, you're constantly under the microscope whenever you have some form of following, right? And this is, again, kind of going back to like people building up these monstrous images of you because they only experience snippets of what you've said or what you've done or who you are, right? These people, I'm saying this is like a loosely collective thing, and largely the people that do this, listen, to anyone considering making content about TF2 or whatever, you will always be dealing with an extremely vocal minority. It's a very, very, very small group of people that are just hateful and just, you know, not even hateful. They're just, I don't know. It's a hateful minority that just needs to project whatever bog rot they have in themselves out onto you, right? And because you are someone with a following, they can get the most attention by attacking you, right? They're not going to get it from going after small fry online, right? They do that. They go after as many people as they can. I look at this. They attack anyone they can, and it's a level of projection that is simply unhealthy, and I pray that they get the help they need at some point in the future. But you're just going to get people like that, and it's totally unavoidable. And these people always have you under the microscope. They're looking for you to screw up. They're looking for something to jump on you for, right? And to like tear you down. It's like, and you know, virtue signal and say, oh, and then they like doing the finger wagging thing. Oh, you can't do this, so you can't say that, you know. And ultimately, it's just a virtue signal. It's just to morally grandstand and build themselves up as they tear you down. They want to feel like they're contributing something to a greater society while tearing other people out of it. It's a very unhealthy thing to do. It's the whole cancel culture thing, and you're only canceled if you let yourself be. So if you just ignore it, it goes away, especially if it's, you know, something fairly stupid, like what happened with me, right? 3 things happened. I got mad at someone in a video game, but apparently that's a crime, right? So people kind of took that as and turned me into like this monster that always gets mad at people in video games, that always just like screams and bitches and moans about everyone, right? But all they're seeing are like a few hand-picked selected amount of clips of me being salty in a video game. You watching this right now, you get mad in video games too. Everyone does. To varying degrees, of course, right? Everyone gets pissed off, they scream and what have you, but for me, cameras happen to be rolling, and people happen to be watching, so it gets spread around on the internet. Apparently that's a bad thing now. Don't know why it is, but apparently it's means to, like, attack someone over. A little bit silly, in my opinion, right? And, you know, me saying things that people don't like, certain words, which I dare not repeat on this platform because, ooh, we can't say things, right? But, I mean, context be damned. And at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, you get mad at you for saying a word. Move on, right? It's all very, very silly. I don't know. It's just, I don't know, just dealing with people. People are weird. People are just fucking weird, man. And you learn to ignore it. You learn to stick with the people that you very much quickly learn to stick with the people that bring you up, and you quickly learn to give the middle finger to the people that bring you down. Give them the middle finger and just don't say a fucking word to them. Don't even acknowledge them, right? Me even acknowledging this very generally built up thing in this video is probably a mistake, because I guarantee the ones that are, you know, as they say, have me living rent-free in their heads will find some way to tie this to and relate it to them, I'm sure. You know who you are. But, I don't know, man. In terms of other forms of burnout with TF2, just the state of the game, it still makes me sour, man. It makes me sad. There was an update today with security fixes. Not sure what that means. I assume they just watered the potted plant. But, I don't know. Just seeing Valve not really wanting to do much with TF2 anymore is a little depressing for me. However, I am happy that I can still play the game via community servers. That's always nice, and so long as there's an avenue for me to play the game, I don't think I'll ever get truly burnt out. It's just depressing to see how things are going right now, man. And just like, in terms of bots and, you know, just the state of, I'll just say the collective term. I hate using the collective term of community. Again, it's always a very small vocal minority of people engaging in these things. But you just have just the worst kind of fucking people doing the worst kinds of shit, man. Just, it's awful. And then you have, like fucking creators.tf just shut down. And I think what happened, I'll go on this thread for a moment, this tangent here. I think what happened with creators.tf is the perfect example of why you should never let the community take over a video game. Ever. It's a horrible idea, and creators.tf is the exact reason why. So initially, creators.tf was great. Their servers were great. Their goal was to provide community-made content on their servers for people to play on and enjoy. And at first, it was great. You know, it was mostly just custom maps, but other than that, it was just vanilla TF2, right? There was custom versions of existing maps, like a pro version of I don't know, it's like Frontier or whatever. There's a variety of custom versions of existing maps, and then also like fully custom maps, like Koth Bagel, what have you. They'd run maps like that, right? And that was fun. It was still normal TF2, nothing special about it, just a bunch of custom maps. And man, back then, that was some of the most fun I had playing TF2. It was awesome, right? It was great. But then multiple things happened, and I'm only going to express what I know. Most of this is very surface level. I don't know full details, and a lot of this is rumor and hearsay, so please be advised about that. Other people started moving into the project, and there was internal drama, which just tore the project apart from the inside out, right? There was that, snafu with money mismanagement via their Patreon. Apparently someone was misusing their money, or misusing the money via Patreon. There was the whole issue with creators being somewhat responsible, the creators.tf being somewhat responsible for the leak of the Team Fortress source code, which basically enabled the level of bot activity that we have right now, again, due to internal drama between people who were working on the project. And then you had something else I personally don't like about Creators Mantra. These people that moved in, right? Team Fortress 2 has always been this game just kind of for anyone, man. Anyone could come in and play. People would they'd talk shit, they'd see mean stuff, pools closed, memes and dumb crap left and right, and you've always had the tools to just, if you don't like what someone's saying, you just turn them off, you mute them, turn off voice chat, turn off the in-game text chat, and you just move on with your fucking day and keep playing the game, or you jump in and just go fucking crazy, and those were the fun times, man. But then when creators started changing hands to a more, I'll say, sensitive type. And this doesn't just happen with TF2. This happens with a lot of other forms of media and content. You have this evolution of what a thing originally is, and then people move in and they, I don't want to say casualify the content, but they change the content to represent their ideologies, what they consider to be a safer environment for them personally, and then they start pushing more and more people out. And I think this was one of the straws that broke the camel's back with creators, is that they had over-policing and over-moderation of their servers, right? It wasn't just like saying slurs, right? And it was a myriad of things that could get you temporary banned or perma-banned from their servers for. And they were being dished out left and right, man. You could, just get mad at someone in a game. There was a whole, I think this got leaked out as well, a whole list of, reasons why people got banned. You see reasons because, someone said mean thing to me, and it wasn't like a racial slur or a slur and whatever, the usual thing they dock people for. But, they're banning them for getting mad in a game, right? God forbid. I don't know. And it feels like they just kept banning more and more people, and they kept kind of isolating themselves more and more and more in this very echo chambery safe space, right? And once they formulated this perfect little spot that they had complete control over who came in and who came out, then it really went to shit, right? That was step one. Step two was that the people that moved in, and this happens with other projects too, and it's really unfortunate, again, going back to like the internal drama thing, you had, I guess you could say, power-hungry people that just started manhandling the fuck out of this project, and they started doing like these fully custom updates, and they started incorporating custom weapons, custom cosmetics started getting put in, everything. It was a shit show. They were changing hands with staff constantly. No one had any idea what the fuck was going on towards the latter part of the lifespan of these servers. And once they started bloating these servers with a fuckload of custom content, doubled with the over moderation, over policing, they started getting further and further away from what makes TF2 fun. And it's the game, it's people being able to come in and just do what the fuck ever. That's what makes TF2 fun, man. It's the game and it's the people, right? It's the experience of playing with all these other people in an amazing game, and that's what, to me, makes TF2 great, right? And when you start stripping away those things, when you start stripping away the people, and when you start stripping away what makes the game by adding other custom stuff, you're not providing a TF2 experience anymore. And they had some success with their NVM updates, but when they started doing these full, I guess you could say, Valve style updates that were like broken on launch, they had stale content, it was just, Oh man, it's just sad. It was really sad, and they just rotted themselves from the inside out. They just tore themselves apart. It's really sad. And it's just immensely depressing to see that those kinds of people moved in and destroyed the project. And it was initially great, right? It had some great, very motivated people working on it, doing great things. And then those people got fed up once those other people moved in. And then the ones that moved in just let the project die with a whimper. It amazes me. Those servers were dead for a long time. A long time. Like more than a year. They had like 0 players. None, right? Kind of like how Faceit is right now. Faceit's dead too. It's like 0 players. But they kept paying for those servers. A lot of them. But no one was playing. So what was the fucking point, right? Like, I even closed my European server already because no one was fucking playing on it. I'm not going to keep paying for it. I guess they just wanted to kind of keep some semblance of the project together. I don't know. But it inevitably failed because of them. They lost sight of what makes TF2 fun, and they kind of became... this is me getting kind of like in like tinfoil hat territory. They kind of became this beacon, this icon for like the woke. I'm gonna say the woke. It's stupid, I know. But they kind of became this beacon or icon for what I would consider to be the terminally online Twitter residents, right? You know, the ones that need the safe spaces, it's all the, you know, the hug boxes, everyone's all nice and happy together. They represented like, you know, oh, we're passionate about the game, we're passionate about the people, but we keep cranking out dog shit that no one wants to play. And they were representing the wrong people. They weren't representing the people that just wanted to play the game. Just like you and me, man. They lost sight, and it's a bummer. Same thing happened with casual.tf, man. They just had purely vanilla servers. I promoted them because they were doing something that I thought was great. Just pure vanilla TF2. It was great. 2 guys were doing it. And internal drama ripped it apart. It's like, I don't understand why people just can't get their shit together, man, and just work, right? Work on a project, cut out those personal endeavors, right? Shitty, nitpicky drama. If you're working on something together, you're working on a project, you may abhor someone's existence, right? But if that's going to interfere with how a project's going to go, see yourself out or work it out with whoever's there. Otherwise, it's going to impact whatever it is you're working on. That's like normal workplace, real life shit that I assume these people have 0 experience in. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened, right? You're going to come across people that you're not going to be having a good time around in your workplace, but they're not going to go away. You can't ban them. You can't scream and cry until they're gone. You're going to have to deal with them. You're going to have to listen to whatever crackpot shit comes out of their fucking mouths, and you're gonna have to live with it. You're working with this guy, but you're all working on the same stuff, working towards a common goal for the betterment of the company or the project, whatever it is you're dealing with, right? If you yourself cannot handle that, you should see yourself out and not force the other people out that still want to work on the project. That's my opinion. And it's a shame to see that happen with multiple TF2 projects. And it's a little scary. It's a little scary to hear, don't know if this is true, but a rumor floating around that some of the people that were working on creators have now moved to other TF2 projects, like the Source 2 port thing, whatever you want to call it. Some people moved to that project. Ooh, it doesn't bode well. Does not bode well. Now we're kind of moving out of the TF2 stuff. Question 6. How tall are you? It's an odd question. I am 6'7", or exactly 2 meters tall. I actually tell my students to use me as a reference when measuring geologic features out in the field. I stand next to like a fault or, you know, a boulder or something. It's like, okay, use me as a meter stick or a 2 meter stick. There's your reference for you. So yeah, I'm vertically challenged, as I'll call myself. Okay, question 7. What do you do as a geophysicist? I study earthquakes. I specifically use groundwater as a tool to monitor earthquake activity. All of the rocks in the earth aren't perfectly solid. They actually have a lot of small pores in them, pore spaces. They're kind of like a sponge. And whenever there's an earthquake, you know, also something else, all of those pore spaces in the earth are actually filled with water or some kind of fluid. And whenever there's an earthquake, the shaking of the earth squeezes those pores, right? And whenever you squeeze those pores, that changes the pressure inside of them. And you can actually measure that pressure. And if you look at that pressure and see when and where and how it changes, you can use that to actually indirectly monitor earthquake activity, because you can use those pressure changes to see when earthquakes are happening, how big they are, what types they are. It's very fascinating stuff, and that's why I do what I do. It's very fun for me. So I also primarily study other types of earthquakes. Yes, there is more than one type of earthquake, but I'll just leave it at that. Don't want to get too far into jargon. So there you go. And let's see, and just as like a little aside, yes, there are actually multiple types of earthquakes. In fact, you have regular earthquakes, which, are the fast, big, scary ones. But then you have earthquakes that are slow. And I myself specifically study slow earthquakes. They release like the same amount of energy as a regular earthquake. Like a magnitude 7 earthquake releases a certain amount of energy. You can have a magnitude 5 or 6 slow earthquake. It releases the same amount of energy, but instead of over the course of like seconds to minutes, it releases all the energy over the course of like days or weeks or even months, sometimes even years. Very, very slow. You can kind of envision a balloon popping in slow motion. It's so slow that you can't feel it, you can't hear it, but it's there. And there are certain types of measurements we can take. For example, measuring the pressure of groundwater that can actually record these things, and to me, it's very, very fascinating. So, that's why I do what I do. It's obvious you're a big rock collector. As a geophysicist, do you collect any rocks? If so, what's the coolest rock in your collection? So I have to actually record that with my phone, but I'll record that with my phone and then kind of lace that into the video, because I can't like take my webcam over to my rock collection, unfortunately. I'll take a picture of it, and I'll post it to like Twitter or something. Again, I don't want to like edit this VOD in any capacity. It's just going to be me talking for an hour and 5 minutes. Fuck me. Let's see here. Number 9. What is your favorite TF2 skin? It's very hard to pick just one TF2 skin that I like, so forgive me when I say the entirety of the Gentleman's Collection is my favorite skin. These skins are the highest quality ever put into Team Fortress 2. And for those who are totally unfamiliar, a skin is just a cosmetic addition to a video game that just changes how your weapons look. And it's like a paint job on a video game weapon, kind of like a paint job on a car. It doesn't do anything for video game, like the gameplay or what have you. It just changes how they look. It's like a collector's thing. It's like a little toy. It's fun. They're fun and cool. But for Team Fortress 2, I like the Gentleman's Collection. Any of the Dress to Kill skins, the Coffin Nail skins, High Rollers, Top Shelf, they're just, I honestly cannot pick out of any of those. They're just really good. Question 10. What is your dream project? In terms of YouTube? Man, you know what? I would love to do a video that is something of the quality of like a Hollywood film. A lot of my inspiration for, making YouTube videos comes from movies and TV shows. So anything with that level of quality would be great. It'd be a lot of fun. But in terms of my career, like for my dream project for my career, I would love to go work in Japan as an earthquake scientist. There are multiple research institutions there that are pioneers for studying earthquakes and doing amazing things. And I would love to contribute to that in some capacity at some point in my life. That would be amazing. So I'm kind of working towards that. We'll see what happens. And also, for those of you that don't know, I call my more heavily edited videos specials, kind of like how Top Gear does it. Like you have like the normal Top Gear, episodes, and then you have like the Top Gear specials. The Grand Tour did this as well, where they kind of have like a theme around the entire, longer than normal episode. They have like the intro for it and all that. I like doing that too. I'm also inspired by like how older movies would always kind of have like this introduction sequence of like scenes, and they'd show the title card and things like that. Some newer movies still do that, but not so much anymore these days. So I'm very much inspired by stuff like that. That's why I do what I do. And here are some gag questions. We'll just do the gag questions in rapid fire here. Rye or pumpernickel? Rye or pumpernickel? I like rye bread. Good German rye. Ooh, good stuff. Job experience. I drink tea for a living. Let's go with that. Why do you think you'd be the best candidate for this position? Another great question. I like how these are just generic job interview questions. I am the best candidate because I exhibit responsibility, I exhibit vigor, and I go out of my way to make sure the job gets done. My work is of the highest quality. I work well in a team. I also work well as an individual. I know when to take initiative, but I also know when to listen, and I know when to care. I know when to be strong, but I know when to be weak. I know when to hug, but I know when to punch. I know when to be and when to not be. I know when to get funky and get down, and when to, be stern and be direct or be indirect, passive aggressive or just flat out aggressive. I know who to be whenever you need me to be, I'll be it. Just please hire me. And where do you see yourself in 5 years? Somewhere halfway between the gutter and the stars. That's it. We'll cut it off there.